This lesson will provide an overview of port sampling data collection. Port sampling is conducted to collect data on the species composition and the length frequency of the landed catch. These data are fundamental to stock assessment analyses. Port sampling data collection does not need to cover 100% of vessel unloadings, and a target of at least 20% coverage of vessel unloadings is the recommended level. The Regional Standard Port Sampling Length Frequency Form is used to collect information on the unloaded catch from selected vessels. In cases where resources in a country are limited, SPC has been requested to handle the data entry of this type of data. For this reason, for the longline fishery, Toughman currently only contains the number and species of each species and records whether they were all measured or not. For purse seine, a representative sample is taken, ideally from a set if it can be identified, or from a well which contains sets with the same set type, the same month and broad area, for example within the same 5 degree by 5 degree cell. Toughman supports port sampling data collected from the longline and purse seine fisheries. Each fishery type has its own specific data sampling form and protocols. More information about collecting port sampling data can be found in the Port Sampling Manual available on the website on screen. For example, in the longline form, even though not all fish may be measured, the numbers by species must be accounted for on this form. It is important that the data collection account for all unloaded fish from a longline vessel, that is, the exports, cannery-bound fish, and those fish bound for the local market. While on the purse seine form, there is no intention to account for all fish unloaded. Countries can choose to enter the detailed port sampling data for the longline fishery, or just to enter the port sampling totals. Which type of data entry you should implement is discussed in one of the following lessons in this section of the Toughman video training tool. For the purse seine fishery, Toughman currently only allows for the entry of port sampling totals. That concludes this lesson.